Hey, another episode. My guest today is a phenomenal comedian. He's in the course of interviewing over 400 experts, authorities, scientists, people of renown. He's become a bit of a knowledge seeker and a bit of a life researcher himself, and is actually not just incredibly funny, but I'm trying to think of a good way to put it, is because I know this is so comfortable for us, but I know for a broader audience, he's a very renowned authority on psychedelics. So if you're unfamiliar with psychedelics, this is a great entry point. And if you're a far explorer, this is right down your alleyway. He's got a special coming out that was filmed at Meow Wolf in Denver. For people who know what Meow Wolf is, it's going to have visuals, it's going to have storytelling, it's spectacular. He's a phenomenal comedian. I'm so glad to have him. Ladies and gentlemen, Shane Mauss.
Hey!
That's you.
I like that you have 7 kombucha and then you're worried that your audience isn't going to know what psychedelics are.
That's true, yeah. Should know my demo.
Know your demo, man.
Well, what's funny is actually, so the show is called Change Your Taste, right?
Okay, yeah.
So, as comics, this is what happened. We go on the roads, and I'm everybody's mother. And then we go to, everybody wants to go and stop at Carl's Jr., and I'm the one going, can we get an organic falafel?
Yeah.
And so I get shouted down. So everybody's got a thing that they go to. Their Sprite, their ginger ale. So I'd say, if you have a thing and I can give you a healthy alternative, and you said, I got pretty good habits, but I love kombucha, and I'm like, oh, I love kombucha.
Nice,
so we're going the opposite direction. We're starting from the baseline.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I do. I mean, I have a soda or 2 a month or something like that, and
but most people, they've got their
go-to fast food here and there because I'm on the road a lot.
Yep.
But I eat healthy enough.
Well, I'm thrilled you picked kombucha because I love kombucha. So we went in a totally different direction. And then before we get started, see, they love the kombucha. Before we get started, this is so I've been telling this story for years, and it involves you, and I've never told you this story. And in doing so, I do a horrible impression of you as well.
Oh.
Because the people I tell are usually comedians who know you, right?
Yeah.
So when I first started comedy, about 14, 15 years ago, I was opening for you, right? At a club that no longer exists, okay?
What club?
Well, I'm not gonna say the name,
Okay.
because even though the club no longer exists, the owner's still alive, and they're a lunatic. And I don't need to hear anything from them on any level, right?
Okay.
Nobody in Seattle needs to hear from them on any level, if that makes sense, right?
All right.
So, and you'll see why. So comedy's new, you know what I mean? I'm just opening, I'm just learning the gig, and as you know, hosting is the hardest job, right? So I finish up my set, I come over to meet you, because you came in a little bit later, as the headliners do, right? And so I'm coming to you to come get your credits, right? So as I'm coming to get your credits, the owner of the club comes out, says a few quick little silly things, then he turns to you and I and says, I'm gonna try to say this as delicately as possible, right? He said, looks at me and says, hey, basically don't try to sleep with the headliner, okay? Which is, think about this.
Okay.
You and I have never met. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is our first time interacting. I'm going to get your credits, right? But this is, yeah.
It's a half-assed attempt at a joke.
But that's the thing, is that it wasn't presented at a half-assed attempt at a joke. See, and as a comedian, you should know better. And as a comedy club owner, if you go, ha-ha, da-da-da-da-da-da, boop, that's my time, see ya. We know he's joking. He said it with a dead earnestness and seriousness that made you and me immediately clearly uncomfortable. Because as comedians, we know how a joke works. So then he leaves. And so now the green room is just...
Yeah, it was probably just his delivery or something. Where I think you're delivering the joke probably better than he did.
Well, that's the thing.
Okay.
The best way to put it, he has a history of doing this, right?
Yeah.
But as a young comedian, I don't know that. And you, as a first time at that club, you don't know that either.
Yeah.
And so he didn't come in and say a half-assed little thing. He said it cautionarily as a boss. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right?
I'm trying. I have no memory of this.
And I had a feeling.
Yeah,
because it's 15 years ago, right?
Yeah,
and it was but for me as a young comedian, it was a stark memory and so what happened was, this is the funny part, is if you and I both knew it was a half-assed attempt, you and I both would have been like, silly, moving on, right?
Yeah.
He said it sternly, aggressively, as the owner of the club, businesslike, and you and I were both like, as if we got reprimanded. And now...
This was in front of the audience?
No, this is the green room. This is backstage. So I had just finished hosting. I bring the feature up. I come to get you, to introduce you, and I go, hey, I'm going to be your host tonight. Give me your credits. That conversation, right?
Are you sure this person wasn't just joking?
Well, but let me put it this way. If this was the only story of like this that existed, then I'm in my own narcissistic mind, right?
Yeah.
And because when I tell the story, everybody has had an interaction with them that is upsetting, right? This happened to be mine, right? So it was a way we, as comics, we share battle stories. So everybody in Seattle is like, oh, now I got one. Oh, that's a great one. Now I got one. Does that make, now does it flesh it out? So it's not me sitting up at night going, oh God, you know what I mean? The world hates me. It wasn't. I've used this for years as like a poker chip to be like, your turn. Do you see what I'm saying, right? So yeah, and afterwards I'll tell you, and you'll see why, right? But so the funny part though, that the part that comics enjoy is that now you and I are basically sitting here, and it turns into a Seinfeld episode of you basically politely being like, so, are you a gay man? And you said it like that in a very Shane Mauss way. And I was like, well, no, not that there's anything wrong with that. If I was, you seem like a nice fella, be more than happy to grab a drink and have a fish sandwich with you, but I'm not. And you're like, well, I'm not either. So now you have two straight guys trying to convince the other that not only are we both straight, but we're also both not homophobic.
Sounds like a lot of what's going on in America right
now. Exactly. This exact scenario, right? And it was, so he and I are sitting there, but it basically made that whole weekend not uncomfortable, but it was basically like, and it was, and the way,
I just don't see this making me that uncomfortable.
I wasn't uncomfortable.
You're probably young and you're in your head and everything.
I was,
you know,
but yeah, but I do remember, of course, right? But also, it was such a stern reprimand that but also you and I were put in such a weird situation where I had to explain like, oh, this guy, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, that makes sense.
I mean, I was always not the most talkative person.
Bingo.
Generally.
But that's how I took it. That's how I took it. Because for the rest of the weekend, you kind of stayed to yourself, not just with me and
I just sit in the green room and write.
Exactly. So I never once took it as offense. I was like, oh, he likes to keep him to himself. And this guy just threw a stink bomb in the room for no reason. And because people adore you, whenever I tell comics on the road, when I tell them this story, they love it because they can see exactly how both you and I would react to that situation, the exact way that we did. And you and I are both very politely being like, you seem lovely, I'm straight, so am I. And we're also arguing over who's straighter, but who's more accepting. I can't win. Can't win either way.
I'm the straightest and also have the least need to prove it.
To prove it, exactly. Well, let's get started, huh?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Well, let's have number one. Give it a try and see what you think, and give me your best impressions. Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny. I've been meaning to tell you that story for years.
I love it. Okay, we got a berry. I feel like.
There's a berry.
See, when I said I like kombucha, I didn't say I was a sommelier.
Right. Oh no. Just give your first impressions. Okay, good. So berry, you like it?
Was I supposed to save some?
Yeah, no. Okay. I love it. Don't pound it. Yeah. Sometimes people shoot it, which I think is even better. Berry.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. It almost tastes like a strawberry or something.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
That. It's lovely.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot.
And we'll keep challenging, right?
I like number one.
Good. One is in. You got a good road story for me?
Yeah. I was thinking because people like to hear speaking of uncomfortable green rooms, and people like hearing stories of bombing. The worst I ever bombed, and this wasn't my fault at all. Like, usually there's like some percentage of like, maybe I could have managed that better. There is nothing I could have done to manage it any better. It was in Western Massachusetts, Chicopee. I think it still exists, at this Chinese restaurant that has this huge showroom. And they had Pauly Shore there, and I was going to be opening. I was a young comic. This is before we met. This would have been like my first or second year in comedy.
Oh, wow.
They printed the wrong time on the ticket, and everyone was all excited to see the weasel. And so the type of audience that is in Western Massachusetts coming to this club and then also
to see the
Pauly
guy
Shore
from In the Army Now or whatever
is not the smartest audience in the world anyway, and a little rough around the edges. And they printed the wrong time on the show, so people arrived like because I think they printed it all like an hour ahead of time or something like that. So people, and then with doors, so some people were there like 2 hours before the show was starting, didn't realize that the door time looked confusing on the ticket, whatever it was. People were arriving at like at least 2 hours early, mad about it, drinking a lot, and because of how upset they were. And then Pauly was late. So the show started like 2.5 hours after when they thought it was going to, or something like that.
Of Massachusetts power drinking.
Oh yeah. And then I was in the green room, which was right behind the stage, and then they go, 500 people, sold out show.
Yeah.
They open the show. They do the God mic, you know, just from the back. They go, all right, everybody, we're ready to start the show. And I just hear everyone in the audience, 500 people, just go, finally! They're all yelling. They're not clapping. They're not excited about it. And they're just upset because, like, you buy a ticket for Pauly Shore, it's kind of a goof anyway, you know?
Yeah.
And now you're investing 2.5 more hours.
Even Axl Rose barely pulls that off.
Yeah. And so they go, well, we're starting the show, and everyone's like, finally. And then I just hear them go, but first, we have another great comic, and I'm not even on stage. They haven't even said my name or anything. Just 500 people violently booing.
Boo.
Just the fact that there's another comedian before they get to see Pauly Shore, who I don't think they really even want to see. They're so drunk. And I get introduced, and I walk out to just 500 very drunk people just booing violently that I'm on stage and just like, introduce Pauly and blah, blah, blah. And I need to fill 20 minutes to...
As a new comedian, as a young comedian.
As a new comedian, I have like maybe 30 minutes, you know, at the time.
And you're one of the least confrontational comics.
Yeah. I don't do crowd work, especially at that time. I was like more of like a dry, like one-liner, like kind of dark joke, like cerebral, headier, like you have to think about it a little. Really the absolute worst comedian for this situation, and new, only like a year into the business or something like that. And I just sat on stage. I didn't say a word. I just sat and listened to them boo me for a little. For like at least a minute or two.
It's the right move.
Just kind of enjoyed it, and then I was like, I'm up here for another at least 15 minutes. Pauly's not going to be ready, so you want to hear some jokes and stuff? And they're like, no! Get Pauly up here, and all this. And I get booed for another couple minutes, and then I was like, well, I can just oh man, I now remember. So some people in the audience feel bad for me in this situation. So at the same time, a whole bunch of people start sending shots up. And if you met me back then, you probably knew I was a big drinker. And I don't drink anymore, but I used to be like one of the biggest drinkers in comedy.
Yeah, we did get hammered. Yeah.
And so especially because of like social anxiety and everything else, and to loosen up. And so they're sending shots on stage, so I'm just doing shots, one after another, and they like it when I do shots. Yeah. That's the only thing. So they'll clap when I do a shot.
Relatable.
And then start booing.
And then boo again. They go back to booing. He did his shot.
Clap for the shot. Back into the booze.
Material.
Where's Pauly? I haven't even done material yet.
That's great.
So then I kind of am like, well, I'll do some material. And then I think I like did some drinking jokes or whatever, you know, like lowest common denominator, easiest stuff. And booze through the, you know, they were gonna boo at anything that came out of my mouth. And then there was this huge table in the middle that was like a frat, like an old school fraternity of like, you know, drunk, emboldened young guys that and they were kind of leading the booing and everything. And like I kind of focused on them.
Which is the same as engaging a sorority party. It's just, there's no reason to engage with a sorority group.
But I was kind of doing some material. I'm like, maybe they'll like this.
Yeah.
And they kind of were coming around a little bit. And at one point, so this is like 10 minutes into the booing, like one of the like frat guys stands up and is like, all right, everybody, give them a chance.
You're a manager.
And they kind of, sort of listened. And I sort of, kind of turned it around a little bit to the best that I could at the time. And then I go to introduce, and so, and meanwhile, sending shots up. So now I think I went over my time too. I think I did like 25.
I'm going long. I'm getting shots.
I'm just doing shots. And I had ordered the largest like poo-poo platter, like more than I could ever eat, like enough for like 10 people. I had ordered it before going on stage. So it'd be like waiting for me in the green room. When I got done, I introduced Paulie on stage. He was not my favorite person in the entire world, but whatever. It was like, you know, he was like, he was like a little douchey anyhow.
At his best,
and like he was late because he was like at a strip club, like you know.
At least he had a good reason for being late to his show. A Chippewa strip club. I can only imagine.
And so I introduced Paulie, and he walks out with my poo-poo platter. And just throws the whole thing into the crowd. And
for people,
did material.
When you're just eating it and your stomach, all you want to do is go back to that green room and just eat a sandwich, just to have that comfort. And he took away the one thing that would have given any sort of redemption to that. Oh my God, that's rough.
Yeah. So that's the most I've ever been booed anyway.
Yeah. Did you have one of your early jokes that you see kind of worked? Had it been a different scenario, or was it just like not even getting during that set?
No, I had some stuff that was working.
Okay, but it was
when they listened a little bit.
When they tune in, that's the one.
I finally, but it like
the vibe was just too far gone.
So much,
And now with your understanding of those mechanics and how the brain and how people relate, could it have happened any different, or is it that scenario is going to be on repeat, just no matter what?
I mean,
I can't even imagine.
I was like young and had like a lot of balls and just like didn't care at all. Just
that
like,
helps.
And
it's probably better.
And because I remember I was like, there was moments where I was like, I wonder if someone's going to like rush the stage right now. That's how it felt. The whole time I was like kind of ready for someone to like rush the stage, and it's 500 very angry drunk people
your jungle
that
instincts
are very mad that I exist.
Well, I'm glad you exist.
Yeah.
You want to have another one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's try number 2, see what you think.
Okay. I'm probably just going to say Barry again.
Well, you'll see. There's a theme. What do you think of this one?
Okay. It's just another berry.
It's just another berry.
Oh, this one's a little more tart, I feel like. I got that right?
You did, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's hard to pick, right? Because raspberries and
strawberries
strawberries on their own, if you handed me a raspberry and strawberry, I would have.
And kombucha is like so kind of, it has that inherent vinegary-ness that I enjoy.
Right, but it's gonna sharpen those berries more.
Yeah. So those.
Let's try one more, just since we're on the berry thing, just to see how they.
Spoiler alert. Oh, that's
Okay.
sweeter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right.
All
I
right.
like this game.
Yeah. It's a good game, right?
Hmm.
You like 3, yeah. 3 is a little more complicated. You gonna guess berry?
It is.
It is a berry. It is also a berry.
It's also a berry.
Lots of berries out there.
What else is in there? Yeah, I don't know. All 3 were delicious.
Good, right?
I think
Yeah.
I liked the tart one.
Okay.
But I couldn't. I think I liked 2 the most.
Oh, interesting.
But this is the Pepsi challenge thing where it's misleading because one shot of it is going to outcompete all of the other ones.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to have a lot of the super tart thing because then you start getting that like build up in the back of your tongue, kind of, if you have like a lot of it. You know, if you had like 2 in a row or something like that.
Like anyone that's ever had like an orange Fanta or a grape Fanta, all your food for the rest of the day tastes like Fanta.
Oh, that first sip is incredible, and then like about halfway through, you're like, oh no.
Yeah, why does my burrito taste like grape Fanta?
Now I have to finish
I gotta finish
this
this.
thing for whatever reason. Yeah.
That's good. You nailed it. These are on different ends. Yeah. So now, what about this? I'm glad you got a bombing story, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a good, like on the road, a good?
Yeah. So speaking of being scared,
Yeah. Good theme.
I had my first time I was in it was McAllen, Texas. So I had when you met me, things were kind of taking off for me at the time. I would have around the time you met me, I would have had multiple Conan appearances under my belt.
Your album was out.
Central. My album was out, and so I had like a Hollywood agent and manager and all that stuff. And so I was
a guy from the Pauly Shore show.
No, Pauly was before I had. Oh, maybe not. Maybe Pauly was represented by the. But anyhow, my agent calls me and was like, "What do you think about this gig? It's in McAllen, Texas. I love traveling everywhere. I'm doing the van life thing right now, just because I love. I don't like flying. I used to fly like 125,000 miles a year. It's just such a pain, so annoying.
But I love the fact that a lot of comics will condescend to the middle of the country. They call them flyover states.
Yeah.
You're 1,000% the opposite. You're like, throw a dart. I've never heard of this place. Let's check out South Dakota. Let's check out. Yeah.
I go through and I look for like populations and I find areas that have like 100,000 people that I haven't been to before and try to do shows there just so I can check out new areas. I go to a lot of national state parks and I've just always been that way. I want to see as many places as possible.
That's awesome.
And
which is great about you. So McAllen, Texas back then was that same appeal. It's in you. Yeah.
Yeah, but and so it's right on the Mexican border, and it's where there's a lot of. It was like the main area where there was like a lot of border crossing happening, and there was. I didn't know this. And it was soon explained to me. So I get picked. So my agent is like, well, it seems a little weird. I found out later the reason why he was skittish about it was because the guy who booked the show, this comic, who's actually ended up being a very nice guy, and just young and kind of a fuck up and, and whatever, maybe product of his environment or whatever.
He's entitled
to
that.
But he sent the contract from his probation office. Like it had his probation office like letterhead on it. This was back when like faxing things was still a thing. And so he had faxed with probation office letterhead.
His urine test, his community service hours. Nice.
And I get picked up in, where is it? It's east of, Corpus Christi, Texas.
Yep.
So it's like a few-hour drive.
Okay.
So I get picked up by him and another comic who turns out to be a really funny guy. But they're like these like rough around the edges types.
Yeah.
And they pick me up, and we're driving to the first gig, and he's like, he's saying like, oh yeah, I'm like getting off probation soon, or something like that.
You're like, yeah, I read the letter. I know. I signed.
And I was just like, and I've been in like, I was like, what'd you go to what were you on probation for? Because I'm like, like I get into trouble. I've been to like, especially when I was younger, I was very rebellious. I was always in trouble in school. I've spent a few weekends in jail.
You're not judging the guy.
Like, I'm not judging.
Yeah.
I'm like, would you?
Yeah. What you in for?
And he's like, well, it's kind of like a weird story. I kind of killed a man. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And meanwhile,
he's on release, so that comedy's like therapy for as part of his.
Yeah. So he's in the passenger seat, and he starts telling me the story. I'm in the back behind him. Meanwhile, there's like feds on the interstate here and there doing so he's breaking up his story to tell me about like how influential the cartel is in the area, and like deciding to show me like videos of people getting like their heads cut off and stuff like that for threat, and like this is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And
this is not in the days where cell phones are sophisticated. It was harder to get a video onto a phone then.
Yeah.
That's even weirder. It was real hard to download then.
Yeah, he's sending faxes from the probation office.
If that tells you how long ago.
Cutting edge.
When you tear off the.
Decapitation, high-res video. And he goes on to tell me this story about how he was, what was it? So he was drinking one evening, and he's driving on the interstate, and suddenly he like hits something on the interstate, and he like, it happens real fast, and he doesn't know what it is, and he's like, I feel like I hit like a body, like what do I do?
A dull thud, not like a sharp.
And he is like, he's still driving, well, like thinking, like in shock, doesn't know what to do, and then decides, because he's like drinking and stuff too, and he's like, I should probably call 911. And so he calls, and he's like, I think I might have hit a body. And they're like, here's where it was, and they're like, where are you? And he's like, I'm driving. Like, I'm driving. They're like, you're just still
going
driving. Like, that's not what you're supposed to do.
I hit a bird once, and I stopped for 45 minutes to an hour, just crying. And so this guy just like, I think I hit someone. If anybody wants to double check the work.
Yeah, exactly. So what he finds out later, so they go to his house, they give him breathalyzer, he was drunk, they arrest him, and what happened was, there was speaking of homophobia, there was a gay man, a prostitute, in southern Texas, and there was a repressed gay man taking in his services. I know this seems far-fetched that there'd be a repressed gay man
in Corpus Christi, Texas.
I like these stories. Have you seen the stories that keep on popping up now of these RNC and these various Republican events where like Grindr will crash?
Yeah.
I'm always like, I'm so confused by that because I want to appreciate the
irony
story,
of it,
the irony
yeah.
of it all, but I'm like, what do you mean it crashed?
Yeah,
Like
that's high volume.
like how?
You know what it is? It's kind of like the the NBA All-Star game, where like every stripper from across the country comes into town. When the RNC is meeting, just every dude on Grindr is in town for that event.
But it's an incredibly successful
Yes.
website. Like,
Yeah.
how do
The volume.
I'm just like, I guess I'll never understand technology. I
Yeah,
get hung up
yeah.
with it because I'm like, how is it crashing the server? How is Grindr not ready for a sudden influx of gayness?
NBA All-Star Weekend for the Republicans. Plan for it. Get some more gigabytes.
So confused. I'm like, how do you don't have servers, or is it by like cities, or is it because if there aren't they using those apps wherever they're from?
Right.
Is it like
Right.
you go to a city and then you max out the city's bandwidth? Like,
Right.
I'll just never. It just makes me feel old.
Yeah.
Like I don't. I get all of the like. I get the repression of homosexuality and the social norm thing and the culture of it all, and people struggling with their ideas of masculinity and all those complex ideas. But I'm just hung up on the servers.
The technical servers, yeah.
How,
you and I
they're missing out on money here.
Right.
And I recognize when I say this, I probably sound exactly like one of these guys trying to use the app.
Yeah, right.
One of these
Why can't I get why can't my hotel room?
Oligarch, like wannabe oligarchs that are like, what if they just have better servers? That is probably the same conversations they're having those evenings.
A ticket's created and sent to their technical department. So we don't understand the nuance of technical, but you tell me Grindr doesn't have interns? Come on. Someone's got to be on hand to crank this out.
Figure it out. And like, I don't know if it's like, is it like the gay community getting together for like a gag to like intentionally crash the community?
No, I think it's organic.
I think it's organic.
I think
too,
it's like
but
Biker
how
Week.
Is it crashing? I don't understand. Crashing?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Anyhow, so whatever's going on. But this is something that I understand a little bit more. Here's what happens this night. This guy's driving. He's getting from a male prostitute in his car. He freaks out halfway through. I was like, oh no, I don't know who I am. Whatever that, you know. And this is around like 15 years ago or something. And so like gay marriage isn't legal yet and that sort of thing. And so
still very taboo, back then.
Back then it was, and he freaks out, and on the interstate, reaches over, opens the door, throws the guy out of his car.
Lord.
Guy rolls onto the interstate. Then drunk comedian.
Oh no! Like a series of events. Oh, he was just doing his job. Poor guy was just doing his job. Oh man, drunk comedian.
And so then the guy he didn't die, is in the hospital.
Yeah,
and they get the guy who he was servicing, put him in prison.
Oh.
Get the guy comes out of a coma, tells the story. So now they're going to let the comedian
testify,
go with like a slight probation thing, like a drunk driving ticket or something like that. But then the guy ends up dying, and he ends up dying, and then the guy in prison ends up getting murdered.
Oh,
the guy that threw him out of the car gets up. So there's no one. So
to take the charges,
and we love punishment.
Somebody's got to.
Punishment's like very rewarding in the brain, the neuroscience of it, and so we just love someone's got to pay for this, and so then they went after this comedian and trumped up the charges more, and then he was like on probation for a little while, and then he violated his probation. And this is I'm hearing this whole story while watching like
The exact
SWAT
scene
teams
yeah.
and the DEA
Yeah.
agents like
Yeah.
going by
Yeah.
and getting shown decapitation videos.
Yeah, meanwhile,
and,
the murderer is driving you.
and the shows were weird, but
Yeah,
they were fine.
yeah.
They were fine. The audiences were a little rough around the edges, but they were manageable.
There were no Pauly
and
Shore
they turned
crowd.
out to be like pretty cool
Yeah,
guys,
usually.
you
That's the
know.
way, yep.
Yeah.
That's
But
the weirdest.
that was
Oh.
the craziest. Yeah. that was
Usually crime
crazy.
doesn't involve itself in that many layers.
Oh, and just what a story to
Yeah.
like. Hey, nice to meet you.
Right.
We're going to be doing multiple shows
Yep,
together
yep.
this week. Like, oh my god.
Can you crash in your hotel room? Normally I'd say yes. I'm still stressed out about the decapitation videos.
Oh, maybe he was explaining why he wasn't driving. I think
Oh,
that's
that
part
was-
of what it was.
And he didn't want to be insincere and lie. So like,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
tell you everything. Good for him. He let
I
good for
looked
him.
up the story
Did
and
you?
it was all
All
I
over
was
the
like,
papers?
Oh my
That's
God.
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. I think you need a refresher after that.
Yeah?
I need a freaking
Number 4.
number 4. No.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is instead of rule of 3 in comedy.
Right.
You did rule of 4
Rule
because
of
I'm a
4.
comedian. You wanted to throw me off. You set the expectation, premise, expectation. This was supposed to be the twist. The twist was this wasn't the twist, and then this was the actual twist.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how our brains
What is
can't break
this?
out of that mold? Yeah.
What is this? Is it like a earthy kind of?
Earthy is exactly. Yeah. See, you're good. Earthy is the right.
I'm
It is.
good.
Yeah.
I've never been complimented on my kombucha
On your
drinking
days.
before. Wow, I needed that.
Yeah. Good.
You know, I've been in a low mood the last few days. And
On the
I'm
road,
just getting
quiet.
a new tour going, and it's always just so much work in
Yep.
the beginning,
Yep.
and I don't know what to expect crowd-wise, and haven't toured like all year because I've been recording these specials. and
Yeah.
I've just have all new material that I'm excited about, but it's just so much
Yeah.
work and wondering what the future holds, and then you just walk in and get to review
Review kombuchas, what a treat.
and get a kombucha tasting compliment.
You know, the kids always say touch grass. And as you, as someone who's always in tune to that, right?
Drink booch.
Drink booch. There's multiple ways to touch grass, right? Yeah.
What is this? So are you going to tell me anything?
Oh, yeah.
Eventually you're
Yeah.
going to tell
Yeah.
me.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
It'd be weird if you didn't.
It's like, do you enjoy that?
Also, why
Yeah.
are you giving me them after each one?
you enjoy
Why
that?
are you
Good.
telling me which ones? I don't
Part of
get this game.
Well, because
I have
you
to do
imagine
them
if-
all,
Oh, yeah.
and then I
Can you-
got to remember.
I'll remember.
And then
Yeah, because think about like the.
I'll
Can you imagine
remember,
if
not
you were doing the
rememberable.
Pepsi challenge and then you did one drink and like this one's Dr
Oh,
Pepper? What would
okay.
be the point of the?
But I don't know what the other ones are anyway.
That's
Okay,
true,
okay,
right?
okay.
So that's why it's a blind.
Well,
and see, just your instincts.
see,
just your own
you give
instincts.
me a nice compliment, and then I come on and I'm like, I don't think you know how to run your stupid
Would you
booch
also-
game.
Not wrong. But also with you, neuroplasticity, it challenges anything that challenges the brain, right?
Okay,
Is
yeah,
a big,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
We've
into
gone bombing, and have you ever had any victories, any major victories or stories where we're like this was unlike anything else that you can't get anywhere but doing what we do?
Actually,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. You know, since I talked about catching breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
So, what had happened? I wanted to be a comedian since I was like 9 years old. I
really?
watched
Yeah.
stand-up comedy like crazy. I studied it, watched good, bad, over and over again. I watched every single stand-up comedy that I could find.
That's why you were such a good tactician early. I mean, it was clear you were a craftsman. I always
really-
admired what a craftsman was.
Yeah,
That
I
makes
really
sense.
understood joke
Yep,
structure really well,
Yep.
and so I started writing as a teenager, but
Yeah.
I had horrible stage fright. I was like, oh, I'm in Wisconsin. I got to move to New York or LA to make it big. I didn't really know how to, you know. And I worked up the courage finally, like 5 years after high school. I was like, I'm wasting my life and I'm not pursuing my dreams. And working factory gigs and stuff. Moved to Boston. Got started, did like a comedy class and stuff, and like I started standing out in the Boston comedy scene really quickly. I was getting paid work within a few months. I was, and then I was getting like hosting gigs within 6 months. And then because I was so dry and everything back then, I wasn't like a good cheerleader type host. I couldn't improvise and stuff. And so I was so bad at hosting, but the clubs liked me so much that they just bumped me up to featuring. So I was featuring.
It's a better spot for you,
in the first like 6 months or so. A year in, I do really well in this Boston Comedy Festival thing. I like make it to the finals. I made some poor choices, but I was kind of like favored to win. But that was enough to get me into this HBO US Comedy Arts Festival. That was like the biggest thing. It was in Aspen, Colorado. And it was like John Mulaney and Kyle Kinane and all these like amazing up and coming comedians were all there, and I won an award for best stand-up over like John Mulaney and all these amazing people. Mulaney actually had like some oxygen, like altitude issues.
Oh,
and so,
I believe it.
Or I'm sure he would have won. He's always been incredible. But he actually featured for me my first headlining gig ever.
Oh, it's amazing.
So things were. I screwed up the story so much. So Aspen. God.
Well, people don't realize, younger comics, I sound like a crazy old man, what a big deal Aspen was. It was a launching
there wasn't
ground.
like social media and stuff back then.
But that was
so
the way
you had
industry
to, like,
got
do
to see you back then.
Contests and stuff. And so I was waiting to find out about this big break, and they had selected 20 of the 24 spots for the Aspen, the HBO festival. And I was waiting, and I was doing my first headlining gigs in Sarasota. I was working with Dan Balger, who won the Boston Comedy Festival, and a really good friend of mine, and I was just like completely broke. And for whatever reason, I took us to this like seafood buffet down there. It was my first time in Florida. I loved it. I was having a blast, and I had all this. You got like one plate of food to like fill up as big as you wanted to or whatever. And so I have this huge plate of food, of seafood. That's like this is like that I spent the last of my money on.
Loaded up.
For Dan and I, and Dan's even younger than I was back then. And I get this call from the person that was trying to get me in. She was working for HBO and trying to get me into this festival and really going to bat for me. And she calls me and she goes, "Yeah, Shane, sorry, it's not going to happen this year. Maybe next year." And I go to get up to like step away so I can take the call and settle in that all my hopes and dreams just came crashing to a halt.
As you're broke.
As I'm broke. Spent the last of my money on this big plate of seafood and we're outside and on the ocean and everything. And so when I got up to talk to her, because I didn't want to like cry around Dan or whatever. When I got up, all these birds swooped in and ate all of that food
all
that I
had what you had in the world.
The last of my,
they took all you had in the world, really.
They did. And I just started laughing in this like my brain broke, like mental institution, like it's over. life is a cruel joke type laughter. And just dying laughing. And she's like, "You got me. You got in the festival." And I'm like, "What?"
No, you got me, lady. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's
So
wild.
that was.
Oh
that
my
was,
God.
Yeah, fun. I mean, comedy was a very different thing back then.
Yeah.
And I was one of the last comics to kind of get a break from
out of
like
Aspen,
in the
yeah.
traditional
Right.
kind of way.
Yeah.
That was the last year of Aspen.
Yep.
I was the last one that kind of like
got one of those.
got anything out of like doing late night and
Yes,
stuff
yeah.
where it was like, oh, now you can be a full-time comedian and
right.
headline on the road
Yep.
because
That
you did
mattered.
late night television.
That mattered.
It still wasn't like Johnny Carson era or anything. It was already kind of dying.
But it got you on the posters.
But it was it was enough to become a full-time comedian. And
in wrestling, they call that
like
the double.
The very last of like a generation.
The last chopper out in it.
Yeah.
Yep. We had a couple comics from here were on that. But it's in wrestling, they call it double turn, where the good guy suddenly becomes a bad guy and then back again. It's like a little double turn.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so story of triumph.
That is a massive triumph.
Yeah.
And, well, what do you think? Work down the line?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What also the disparity between absolute defeat to triumph that's really the gap. That's the emotional range, entire emotional range.
Oh man, that's like a neutral.
Okay,
he says.
No, I kind of.
You cursed it with the last one. I drank it too fast. That's like original kombucha. That's like OG.
Yeah.
That's like the first booch there ever was.
Yeah, there ever was.
That's what that tasted like.
From, like you said, from the earth. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's try the next one.
Okay. I feel like you made me feel good about myself on number 4, and then 5, you're like, okay, just politely, sure. Yeah, you're still doing great. We know it's not true. Ooh, that's light. That's like a melon.
Very close, yeah.
Very close.
Yeah. But that
one
is different.
You know, different. Have you ever, like sommeliers with wine? They do the.
Yep. You get all those notes, all those oaky notes. It's very different.
It's light.
It's the Coors Light of kombucha.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right, that's a light one.
Right?
Yeah.
You got one more story for me?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
This is just like about how much I like travel. I figured since we're in Seattle, have you ever been to, so one of my latest new discoveries was a couple years ago, I went to Vancouver Island for the first time.
Yeah.
You've been?
Yeah.
Paradise.
Yep.
It's just like, it's everything that I want in life.
Yep.
I want to start spending summers there. It's
in Seattle,
so
we call them
nice.
island people, and they're weirdos, and you're like, they've got it figured out. We're the weirdos.
They are weird. I mean, they have a vibe.
They have a vibe,
It's weird. It's almost like, especially like the offshoot islands.
Yep.
It feels like
very Wicker Man.
Yeah. It's almost
their own culture.
It's almost like it's like the Amish that like rebelled from their upbringing, but are still pretty Amish. Like, screw you, Mom. I will use electricity,
but I still have that skill
churn
set.
butter. Yeah. And that's kind of the vibe. It's adorable. It has all these
to free me up to pickle vegetables.
Exactly. It has there's all these like roadside stands and everything. I love it so much.
Good, I love it.
And so I was in the Salt Spring Island, and you go to there's some Salt Spring Island cheese company there, and you can take like a little tour. It's all goat cheese.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay. I'm from Wisconsin. I
Yep,
love
yep.
cheese. I like tasting
Yep.
things. I like goats. I like everything about this.
Yep.
This is adorable.
Yep,
You know,
yep,
it's checking
yep.
a lot of boxes
Yeah.
for me. So we go. So this is I love discovering blind spots.
Yeah.
Like I love
Me too.
when you're like, how did I go so long? You know, I get a lot of I've had a lot of rental cars. I must have got like 500 rental cars before I realized, like when I like pull up to the gas station, like you can know from the inside of the car what side of the car the tank is on.
Yeah.
There's a little
What a
arrow
life-changing,
on the. I was like, what? I was like in my 30s
Yeah.
and had driven at least 500
Yeah,
cars before
yeah.
So I love
It's humbling.
stuff like that.
Humbling.
It is.
What else don't I know?
I have a good one. Dan Bulger, who I told you about, actually was he was old. We were older. This wasn't even that long ago. This is like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I think in his late 20s at the time, maybe even early 30s. And Dan's like, especially when he was younger, he was like a real like idiot savant, like brilliant guy, very funny, and then like can barely tie his shoes. We're similar in that way, but he has like the most severe ADD I'd ever seen and everything else. And I borrowed his car. He had a new car. I borrowed it. I brought it back. He was driving me to the airport. I get in the passenger seat. He gets in the driver's seat. He's like, "Oh, you broke my car." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean I broke your car?" He's like, "The seat. You broke it." I'm like, "I broke your seat?" I'm 6'4". I'm much taller than he is. And so I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, "It's so far back now." And I'm like, "Did I like break the lever or something?" He's like, "Lever? What lever?" And I was like, "The lever to like move the seat from
thought you were
front
locked in
to
and
back."
you adjust.
And then he found out in that moment that car seats can adjust front and back. He didn't know that. How he was buying cars was he was trying them on.
That's
like
jackets. Like jackets.
Shoes.
This one doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this car fits.
Oh my God.
So I love blind spots like that. So I'm at this cheese.
Why do you have a Volkswagen
company.
Fox? Fit.
It fit. And
man.
And I'm walking around, and there's these two guys like in their early 20s that seem like kind of off, like hillbilly-ish. And I can tell they're visiting, and they're with their like grandma, and there's just something like off about them. That like, and I'm like, there's something interesting here. It was there's you can like visit the goats and stuff and see them, and there was this was what got my attention. One of the boys, I was passing them when they were walking in to see the goats. And they're like, "Oh, there's goats over here," and he's like, "Oh, I'm scared of goats." I'm like, "What do you mean you're scared of goats?" Like they have goats are famous for fainting, like under
they're scared.
Like, that's who's scared of goats. And they also have like a homeschool vibe.
Yeah.
If you're homeschooled, like goats is the only thing you should know about, you know? And so I just found these three like very confusing. And so I like eavesdropping on people a little bit and people watching. And I caught them back on the other side, and I was walking by them again as they were leaving the goat area. And their grandma goes, "I love cheese. I just feel bad that they have to kill the goats to get it." And I was like, "Oh, this is amazing." And my girlfriend was with me. I was like, "Come over
You need to hear this."
She was already tasting cheese. She's like, "I'm tasting cheese." I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Ugh,"
The vegans were
like,
right. You were complicit in murder.
and they're like, "Oh, they don't kill the goats." And she was just like, "How do they?" And she's like, "Well, how do they get the
extract
cheese?"
it? Yeah, like that was like they're made of cheese meat.
Yeah. I goes from the milk, and she goes, "Oh, milk, huh? Oh, that makes sense."
That makes more sense.
And then I was like, "What do you mean that makes sense? You're like in your early 70s.
Yeah.
You
From a
just
rural
found out
culture, from a rural environment.
from a rural environment. You like cheese.
Yeah.
Have for your life felt bad about eating.
Carry guilt about it. Yeah.
Because you think it's being extracted from the corpses of animals.
Your version does sound
And then
better.
you just found out
Yeah.
that it comes from milk, and you're just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like, how are you not having a seizure?
Yes, I would never recover from that discovery. I would reevaluate everything I knew.
Oh,
Yeah.
just the avalanche of memories of all the stupid crap you've said about cheese over the years.
And her response was, this fella seems like he would know. He seems like a cheese expert, a goat expert of some sort.
I just can't.
That's
how
incredible.
many times has she like made a goat cheese salad or something and like
and just
asked people to have like a moment
just a
of
tinge
silence
of guilt for the.
Oh my God,
That's incredible.
So it's just I thought.
No, that's very.
Last time I was in the Northwest.
That's a very Washington story. That's very legit. That's our people. Yeah, we claim that.
Nice.
Absolutely. You ready for the last one?
Yeah, let's do it. 7.
Number 7.
Whoa, hold on.
Interesting. Yeah, I put 7 last for a reason. Interesting.
What is that?
Isn't that something? I had a feeling.
That is something.
I had a feeling.
What is that? What is that flavor?
It's wonderful, huh?
The aftertaste is earthy.
Mm-hmm.
It hits. It's like, boy, yeah, that is different. I've never had a booch like that before.
Is that right? I
Never.
put that last. Interesting. So
I just saw it's the hops.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it is.
Isn't that funny? You saw it right there, yeah. And so, like you said, the rule of threes plus, right? And for a comedian, we always try to top each other. We try to get the next thing. So raspberry lime. This is Culture Shock, local brewery out here, right? This is Blue Bus, which is elderberry rose hips. Okay.
Ooh.
This is also a Washington company. They are from Bingen, Washington, which I'm not really familiar with them, but I found them and tried them and I liked them. This is their caffeine-free hibiscus.
Okay.
It's a little bit earthy. So they instead of usually like
delicious,
green tea, right?
But I like my caffeine.
Right,
honestly.
exactly.
But not everyone does.
And instead of the black tea or the green tea, it's hibiscus and rooibos, South African rooibos, and the hibiscus added later, right? Number 4, which you really enjoyed, Iggy's. Iggy's is a phenomenal company, and they actually specialize in fermented foods like beets. The fermented beets are great, and this is hawthorn rose with cardamom and myrrh. So this could not get more earthy, right?
Okay,
And this is also Iggy's. I think is another Washington company, Kingston, Washington. This
Blueberry ginger.
Blueberry ginger.
That fooled me.
Fooled you, but also you know how you said neutral, right? What's interesting is blueberry ginger is a very popular flavor for them because when you think kombucha, everybody gets blueberry of some sort, a huckleberry, right? So when people are new to kombucha, it's always the blueberry one. So this is the most like Budweiser for kombucha fans.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I'm new to booch. Hit
Right,
me.
but you nailed it. You nailed it, right?
All right.
This is Honey June, right? Honey June is actually, and this is pear lime. You said melon.
Nail that. Can we go back?
You
here
did pear lime. What a weird blend. Think about it. Pear and lime.
Okay.
Honeydew melon's probably in the middle.
That's
Who
good.
would guess
Yeah,
pear
that's
lime?
It was very light.
Yeah, and you don't hear pear lime as a combination often. So when you
Yeah,
said melon, I was like, that's pretty spot on. You pretty
Okay.
split the difference. But Honey June is
No, you're just blowing smoke. I don't feel as good as my guesses. on
honey.
those last
Actually,
two.
melon was pretty good. Honey is they use honey instead of sugar for the fermentation.
Okay, that's
right?
why it's a little lighter.
Exactly. Pineapple mango hops is a new flavor for Culture Shock, and it's my favorite. And so I'm glad you enjoyed it as well.
I think this is
Pretty great, right?
yeah.
Because it's the mix of the sweet plus the hops. It splits
it's
the
really
difference.
interesting because it comes on sweet
Yeah.
in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
And then the aftertaste is the hops.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and so you get, and like you said, this you can finish 3 cans in a row. Versus other ones I get, I'm like, I'll take half and then do half later. These I pound. Right?
Okay.
And the good news is, Thomas, the owner of Culture Shock, is a sponsor of ours, so I've got some for you. Right?
Yay! All right.
And these guys are from Peshastin, which I think is funny. My girlfriend's family, I go, where are they from? And she said, they're from Peshastin. I've never heard of Peshastin in my life. I looked it up. There's like 2,500 people. And I'm like, what is this strange town that you've brought me to? And yet now I found out that this phenomenal Honey June Kombucha comes from.
Incredible.
Right? And so I've got
Thank you so much.
I got some more goodies from our sponsors. This, as somebody who has, you and I drank in our drinking days, right? Not beer.
Oh.
Right? So there you go. There's some.
Oh, it's sparkling water.
Bingo. Sparkling water. Right?
Okay. Does it have, it's just water though?
Sparkling water.
Okay. Because I was like, I don't want like a beer taste.
Bingo.
thing.
Exactly. Sparkling water.
Oh.
It's just not beer. Right?
Great.
Perfect. Right? And you as a coffee fan, another sponsor of ours, Seattle Strong. Phenomenal coffee company.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I got you a medium roast.
I have a weird thing where, this is so weird.
With coffee or
with coffee.
Yeah.
I drink more coffee than most human beings.
Oh, really?
But I can only drink hot coffee, and lately I've been trying to warm up to the cold brew.
You've been dipping your
There's
toe.
something about it that it's like, I don't know what it is, because I can drink hot gas station swill just fine.
But the cold brew's got to be just
fancy,
right.
awesome cold brews.
It's just got to be. It's got to thread that needle.
Even then, I'm like, but I'm warming up to it.
All right. Well,
because on a warm day and stuff, I'm heading south soon.
Well, this will be perfect. Well, this will be a good test. I'd be curious to hear what you think. And then, I don't know if you're a coffee fan. You ever had Vietnamese coffee?
No.
Yeah, this is phenomenal. This is.
I have actually. It was not cold.
Yeah, Nguyen is the number one Vietnamese coffee. Sarah Nguyen, the founder and owner, has basically brought the Robusta bean versus the Arabica, which is what most coffees are made out of, right? And it's just different things. Some people like cherry pie, some people like apple, right?
That's good. I have a mini fridge in my van.
Yeah.
And these are gonna be.
That's gonna be perfect. You can just reach out and pull out, and you're in there.
Yeah, because sometimes I'm camping and like I really want coffee.
But you don't want to go through the process of making
and sometimes I make it too, and then it's a whole thing.
People in Seattle love dark, heavy, dark roasts. Then I give them this.
I'm gonna try to warm up.
Well, I give them this, and they're thrilled. They're like, "This is." I usually don't like a medium roast, but I love it.
Okay.
Right? So and then I don't know if you're a big supplement person, or but again, you're a man of science. So I find this interesting. People whenever I guess that, or when I'm doing business and people are coming to Seattle, and they always say, "Hey, what's the best comedy club in Seattle?" I always tell them Tacoma. Okay. And they go, no, I asked you the best. And I go, no, that's the answer. The best comedy club in Seattle is Tacoma. Right? So the best, in my opinion, the best supplement company in America is Canadian. Right?
Okay.
Because they have different technologies. So again, going back to fermented technologies, rhodiola, you familiar with rhodiola?
Yeah.
I'm sure you know rhodiola, right?
Yeah.
And so rhodiola always gets kind of like misrepresented a lot of times, saying like it's for stress, because we like to diagnose things in the country, which is completely inappropriate. It's enhancing your body's response to stress. So pilots, I get a lot of people that have stressful jobs or very physical jobs, right? Where they can't be spiking and crashing. They need to maintain.
Rhodiola's taking off these days.
And you, with the history of being depressive as a comic, you'd be a terrible comic if we weren't, right?
Yeah.
Switching towards anxiety, which means now you're managing, right?
Yeah.
Holy basil. You ever heard of holy basil?
No.
This is your new best friend. Okay.
Okay.
I always tell people, I tell them treat holy basil as if it's a multivitamin for emotions. And so people that do psychedelics, I find this fascinating. I tell them before your next experience, I want you to do this for a month. Do this in vitamin C for a month, and then because it's not like your first or second time, you have a base for comparison. So people that are regular explorers, it's amazing the response that I get, because it gets people more in touch with their spirituality and their emotions, things that people typically talk about. Probiotics for your digestive tract, fermented probiotics, okay, multi-strain. And the last piece of the puzzle, zinc. We're going to cold and flu season.
Yeah.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
So this is what's special about this company, to give you an idea, is one, if I was going to say, all right, Shane, we got 2 companies here. One of them is synthetically manufactured in a laboratory, right? The other one is living whole food optimized by natural microorganisms. Which one would you choose?
The living whole foods, microorganisms.
Very clearly, right?
Yeah.
Why is this one even available? 90% of what we buy in the marketplace is this. So we need to stop buying this and rewarding these billionaires and start, buying the companies that are actually trying to benefit us, right? Last piece of the puzzle. You ever heard of ESIAC?
No.
Interesting.
Asiac, yeah.
I bet you have, yeah. With the number of scientists and researchers you've talked to, this is going to be a great little assignment for you because I think you're the type of person that is going to dive deep. Reen Kess was a nurse in the 1920s, and she found that all the doctors she was working with kept killing their patients. And so she started talking to the local indigenous people in Canada, and they basically said, yeah, throughout our thousands of years history, when people got ill, we would create this beverage, and they would drink this beverage, and people would improve. We now have the science behind why. So thousands of years, people knew, hey, you just mix these herbs together, and this is the result. Now we scientifically know why. So when I say liver, what's the first thing you think of? Alcohol and detox, right?
Yeah.
The liver doesn't actually remove toxins from the body. It pre-packages them so that they're in a more stable, safe condition to then be transported to the gallbladder or to the kidneys or to the lower intestine, right? So we think the liver the liver has a series of processes like a machinery factory, right? And so this is a soft shell version of her famous formula, and this is Herbs Etc. In my opinion, the best herb company in America. So this is another sponsor of ours.
Thank you so
right?
much.
And for someone
Gifts.
this is before, and then anytime you do any sort of psychedelics or trips or any sort of ingestion, there's the detox. So you've got both ends.
All right. Thank you so much.
That's for you.
Awesome. Thank you, my friend.
This is awesome, brother.
Yeah,
I'm so glad we got to
had
do
a great
this.
time.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
You got any more burning desires or letting people know? We know next year that the special, it's a two-part special.
Two-part special, Trips.
Trips.
The first special of its kind. It's on the subject of psychedelics. I like doing themed shows, so I had a Netflix special called Mating Season that was all about like animal mating behavior, and then I broke my feet and made a special about the evolution of negative emotions and sensations, and then this psychedelic show is something that I worked very hard on, and we built a bunch of visuals to bring everything to life in real time. So it's the first comedy special that has a VJ, a video jockey, blending visuals. 20 different artists contributed to it. Go to shanemauss.com to check it out. And then I'm just starting to, in addition to having a new psychedelic show, I'm also relaunching Stand Up Science, which is a show that I toured with a bunch in 2019. I think I'm probably going to bring back my podcast Here We Are as well. I just kind of put everything on hold to focus on getting this special made over the last couple of years. And
you are a perfectionist. I have people that have gone to your shows and said they said they could see how much work you put into it, where the technology didn't match your vision. So now I don't think people realize the amount of work you put into making sure that this video jockey and all of the technology fits in with the performance.
So this new show is about like mythology through millennia, the evolution of human storytelling, and various cognitive biases and logical fallacies and that sort of thing that drive a lot of our perception. And then I have local scientists in every city that I do the show join me on stage and share.
Like when Conan went through town and every city went to, all the celebrities that loved him would come out. It's fantastic. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you did this. And we had a change of taste, which was exciting. We actually had a change of taste, which is the pineapple mango hops from Culture Shock here in Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I love it.
You're all set up.
Can I get that?
Yes, you can.
Nice.
That's all yours.
I want the boot. Awesome.
Well, thanks for watching. And we had a change of taste. And just remember, nobody's asking to be perfect, but we can all be better. We had another change of taste. And look at that. It's an actual sponsor of ours. Comedian Shane Mauss chose Culture Shock Kombucha Pineapple Mango Hops flavor, the Golden Griffin, as his new favorite. And as you saw in the video, Shane is a noted kombucha fan and said himself, "I've never had a booch like this before." If you live in the Pacific Northwest, Culture Shock Kombucha is about to open Seattle's first hard kombucha tap room. Fill up your growler. We'll meet you there. And in the meantime, be on the lookout for another episode of Change of Taste with a brand new guest.